Let's switch over to Madison, Wisconsin, joined by Senior Editor of Veterans Today, Mr. Kevin Berret. Thank you so much for being with us. Well, let's start off in looking at the Security Council that seemed indeed that they cannot come to, not only come to an agreement, but it appears that they really can't even sit in the same room for very long. How do you read what seems to be taking place these days?
Well, I think the world is waking up. You know, we've been living in an era of nonstop deception and illegal wars of aggression since the September 11th coup d'etat in the U.S. And slowly but surely, the world is catching on to these deceptions. This run-up to an attempted war on Syria is reminding people everywhere of the run-up to the war in Iraq, when lies about alleged weapons of mass destruction were being spread around by the same people who are now spreading around the very unlikely story of the Assad government using chemical weapons in a huge attack right at the moment that the UN weapons inspectors arrived. And indeed, every day more information comes out showing that it was almost certainly Syrian rebels with help from their Western suppliers who used these chemical weapons in a false flag attack designed to bring the West into a war on Syria. And as the world wakes up, as the British Parliament votes against a war on Syria, as people here in the U.S. plan to turn out in massive demonstrations this weekend against war on Syria, it seems that Russia and China are also emboldened to stand up and say, this has gone on long enough. We need to return to an international community that does not allow wars of aggression to be launched on these flimsy or even mendacious provocations.
Well, now, Kevin Berret, you said that it appears that more and more people are waking up to what you call the deception that has been taking place. If this synopsis of yours is true, how dangerous is that? Because if an entity is really trying to deceive the masses and then the masses start waking up, how dangerous would you say the situation is?
Well, it's very dangerous because so often people in governments that are starting to fail try to, so we call it fleeing forward. That is, they rush to a war hoping that a war will create this sort of fog of war environment that will cover their tracks and hide their crimes and allow them to rally their people behind them. And this is, of course, why we had a war in Afghanistan so quickly after September 11th. The fog of war rallied the American people to forget about what really did and did not happen on September 11th. And so today, the same people are being exposed, and I believe that they are considering using another big war as a way of generating this fog of war phenomenon that will allow them to try and cover up their crimes. So those of us who are trying to stop this have to be very careful and very thoughtful and very strategic about how we do it. And I do think that the Russians, the Chinese, and people all over the world in positions of power are really starting to rethink this. And let's hope and pray that the forces of peace and reason prevail.
All right. Well, we hope so. Thank you so much out of Madison, Wisconsin. Senior Editor of Veterans Today, Mr. Kevin Berret.